Hey there, welcome to CNT Collectibles. I am C. Hope you're doing well. This is your weekly sports card chart blast where we take a look at the price action of our favorite collectibles. Price is truth, unless, of course, price is lying to us. Dirty, dirty price. So anyways, we'll just take an overlook at some of the major indices. And there hasn't been a lot of change since last week as far as the leadership areas of the sports card market and a lot of the names that are driving those things. So we'll just get right into some of the bigger names in each of the sports. And so soccer is actually kind of moving up the ranks just a little bit here. It's been a little bit flat, and you're seeing some names that I can't pronounce start to make their way up. Very low dollar cards, and so you'll see $3 to $7, which are great moves and everything like that, but difficult to make sense of them. I don't know what to say about them. So, hey, soccer ripping a little bit, but entertainment, golf, and football. Again, a lot of the usual suspects that have been moving these sectors over the last few weeks. We're seeing it again here. So, entertainment, a lot of the Marvel stuff is absolutely ripping. Golf, you have some higher end Tiger Woods. Actually, the biggest riser is the Tiger Woods PMG. So, again, put PMG on anything, it's probably gonna rip these days here. So in football, you've got some of the Super Bowl names. It was kind of fun to listen to the people talking about predicting the card prices right after the Super Bowl. It's like, or you could just watch me and he nailed it. So, all right, we'll just do that. Maybe I should be those guys and be like, hey, for $5 a month, no, I would never, you get what you pay for here. It's free. So, start off with some of the major names here. Mike Trout, PSA 10, on a buy signal actually, but they were mostly just consolidating here. So your risk, again, that downside is kind of the 2,500 area. $3,000 is kind of your upside. When it gets to 2,500, it's a quick hit. It doesn't last there too long. So really 2,700 to like 3,000. Once you get above 3,000, it's also quickly sold. So it's a tight range. And with baseball deciding that they're going to start canceling spring training games because they're so smart, you've got the stage to yourself here. Let's just cancel. Brilliant move here. People are going to be kind of on the fence. Are we going to have another lost year? Is Mike Trout going to be, he's generational, but is he going to be an all-time great, or is he just going to be generational? Between those two, and that will have an impact on his price. If he's an all-time great, top 5 player in the game type deal, then yes, you can see these prices start to rise back up, and there's a lot more than there were of the other goats. But again, if we can't get the season going and things start to stall out, and he starts to enter kind of leave his prime years, then this price, it could prove to be a little bit rich. And so I think the market's just in a holding pattern. Like, what do we do with this one? So I don't know. I just outline the risk. It's not about predictions. It's about outlining your risk. Below 2,700, you better hope someone comes in at 2,500. Otherwise, it's an exit if you've got multiples of these and you're looking to sell. For me, if it goes lower, I would welcome it. I want to buy. So I'm not rooting for the season to be canceled, but I am rooting for people to give up and start selling. So I get more of those than people are willing to buy. Price goes down. PSA 9 ticking up just a bit here. So these will kind of track each other, 9s and 10s. So a 3-to-1 ratio would indicate that either the 9 is a little too rich or the 10 is too cheap. And with the 9 kind of at the top of its range here, maybe that has to come back a little bit. But there's a lot of buying interest on this card here, a lot of good volume, and so we'll see if it can't push its way up and out and just take a little bit of good news to get that thing going here. Mookie Betts stops Chrome update PSA 10. This is the shorter printed version. The Chromes came in there was no Chrome release. It just came in the back of the holiday mega boxes back in the day here. So we had our ramp up on very little volume, and that's where you just kind of leave it alone, look for it to come back to a natural area where there's been more buying. And here you are. So kind of that $600 is your bottom. We're sitting at 875 or something like this. So there's still a potential long way to go, but just kind of tagging this support zone. Seen enough cards do this recently, and you'll see some today that it's probably close enough, honestly. So the base has been ticking up. It's 250, 300, it's like 280 right now or something like that. As that starts to go up, it'll put some pressure on these prices as well. So more people will start to go into those. They'll just geez, if I'm paying $500 for a base, why wouldn't I pay $800 for the Chrome or something like that? So demand will come in. So it looks close enough. Again, you could have something in here. Honestly, probably a pretty quick move. I think Mookie, considering his track record and everything, is a strong buy in these areas here. You might have to hold your nose just a little bit, but you'd be happy. I think longer term, Bryce Harper base PSA 10 is update running. So a longer term trend is up. It's grinding lower within that range here, and you're in an area where there's just been a lot of buying here. If it gets much lower, it's probably going to be picked up quickly. Not sure you're going to be able to get in on that one here. So this is kind of the price as it has been for a a while, and his front leg up, sitting at a spot where it's proven to be a good spot to buy, at least in recent memory here. So if you've been waiting on this one, this looks like it may be as good as it gets for a while here. Juan Soto Chrome update. It's compressing as the market tries to figure its way out of here. So you've got your high prints, and then you have a consolidation, which usually breaks in the direction of the previous trend, which is down. But any break we've had recently is quickly scooped up by eager buyers here. So that 260, 270 is kind of the price until you see a few sustained sales down here. These one-offs, it's like, okay, warning flags up. Let's just see a couple more in here. And we haven't really had that. So if we get a few more sales in here, then you could be back down to that, that 220, that 225, 250 area or something like that. If it gets back down to 200, I think a lot of people would be happy to come back in on that one. So this is kind of the price right now. I wouldn't expect monster upside anytime in the near future. So maybe it's just one to wait and watch and see which way it goes here. So a card that has been ripping of his are these silver packs. The 2018 is the 1983 style. They just kind of languished for a long time for whatever reason. I think they're beautiful cards. I always love the silver packs. To try and get one of key players every year. I think they're a ton of fun, mostly because I remember with these when they came out. If that's any indication as to how long I've been not doing this, but when I first started collecting cards, at least it's been intermittent at best. But new highs for the 83 silverback and a PSA 9, couple $100. So I bought one. They just never got any love. I remember when I got mine, it was an add-on. I was buying some other cards, and I'm like, all right, I got to get to whatever the number was to get the free shipping from the guy or whatever. So I threw it in there because I like Soto. I'm like, I don't know if those cards are ever going to do much, but I sure think they're cool. And so they're finally getting some love. One of the biggest losers for Juan Soto is the raw version of that card, down to $100. So it's at an interesting buy spot here. So if you look at the PSA 9 with a rip to the top of the, I'm not even gonna say top of the range. I don't know if it's the top of the range here. It's just too thin. It's not worth charting or anything like that. That's a big move on that particular card, up something like 60%. Well, this one is getting beat down just a bit. You can see that this one gets a little bit of a pretty decent lift potentially. And maybe that other one, to the 9, the graded one, comes down just a touch in the near future. So if you're between the two, it looks like the raw maybe sets up a little bit better here in the near future. And the Prism, another one getting clobbered. There's enough buying in here. These are pretty cool cards. So there's enough buying in this area that if this is a card you're looking for, you might be okay. But it's so thin. Again, it's just going to take one person to completely screw it up. So no promises there. That's why I'm not charging anything, people, because I sure make mistakes as well. And I give a lot of I don't knows, which I don't know. I think is a great, I think that's a perfectly fine answer in most cases. Who knows, right? I'll just try to be honest with you. So, Vlad, missing card number, PSA 10, bottom of the range, with a rip to the top of the range. It's very thin here. So I think we had it down here. It's like, okay, risk word sets up favorably. It did. But again, the as thin as this volume is, it's maybe not realistic for you to get in there. Just kind of mark it down. You get down to the bottom of the range. It's been a pretty strong buy in the recent past as far as his price actually goes on that missing card number here. So right now, I think you just kind of watch it. But if it comes back a little bit, do your thing. The top's chrome. This is the refractor in a PSA 9, down to $100, and so while the other ones are ripping, but they're on very thin, I would expect them to kind of follow the lead on this one, where it just pulls back to support where we've been at before. So if you're looking for that Vladdy and you like PSA 9s, this is as good as it's been for a while. If it breaks down, you could be a heck of a lot cheaper, but I think enough people would be like, $60 for a Vlad refractor. I mean, they're not going to think too hard about it. It probably doesn't last too long there. So setting up nicely for now. Shohei Ohtani pitching PSA 10. That's the Topps update, sitting at support here. So it's just grinding lower. When we kind of had the topping thing in the broken trend, it's like, all right, here's kind of your level where it may come back down to, so $80, $100, something like that. So you're getting really close to that. There could be a little bit more downside. I'm not a long-term bull on Shohei Ohtani. I think he's amazing. I think he'll have some incredible years. He's the face of international baseball. And so when I say superstar, I'm not conflating that with elite level player. He's got some problems with strikeout rates and things of that nature. He does two things really, really good. One thing at an elite level, not so much. But superstar from the standpoint that you think of a superstar or whatever, it's like well known and all that and recognizable and like that. Yeah, that's him pretty much. So sitting at the bottom of the range, you get if it leaks a little bit lower, expected to be picked up pretty quickly. But it's presenting you with a decent opportunity if you've been patient. then and you wanted that card, then there you go. Lindor, Francisco Lindor, BGS 9 with a 10 autograph. His autograph back in the day was really kind of janky. It's almost like he scribbled for a while or something. So had him at the bottom of the range, and we got a rip. It's on low volume here, so I don't know if you chase it too much here, but excuse me. But the market is recognizing the range here, the risk reward sets up. So if it comes back a little bit, then and you want this card, then there you go. You kind of got to do it. What is that, $300 or something? So it's sitting at 400. Yeah, it comes back in, 350. Might present a really good opportunity. I don't think you have to do anything here. It's so thin, but if you're looking for that card, again, I like Lindor. He wasn't the worst season in the world last year. Really kind of turned things around, and his body of work is impressive. But we don't care about the fundamentals here. We're just looking at the price action. So a little pullback, and then there you go. This is kind of your spot right around that 300 area. Johan Santana, that'd be great. Jordan Alvarez, PSA 10 in the refractor, sitting near the bottom of the range. Been buying some Jordan Alvarez lately. Look at his numbers, top 10 hitter in the league. Ozzy Albies, Chrome. PSA 10, really the only card that they have on the on card ladder, which they mix with some other ones. So some of his higher end stuff, you get the more limited, and this is the case for cards across the board. When you have demand dry up, for the most part, I mean, they're not going to be able to support the some of these population reports, and so you'll have to go to the more limited stuff. Again, if you want, if they have all these for sale, you need 2,000 people to be interested in it to lift those prices up. I'm not seeing that with Ozzy Albies, but if you have his blues or whatever color refractors, I mean, it only takes a couple hundred people to be interested. That's probably more realistic. So that's where you see a lot of those more limited things really, really doing well here. But anyways, for now, it sets up at the bottom of the range, $35 card. Really doesn't matter either way. I'm having some trouble here. I talk too fast and bring in too much air, and then all of a sudden my just like, so not choking or anything like that, but sure, cough it out and I'm all good here. So anyways, bottom of the range, and this could bode well for his other cards that have been kind of, flattish, but I mean, they've held in at pretty decent levels here. But again, if you're looking for an Ozzy Albies, this sets up pretty well, but heck, the pinks are pretty cheap, and a lot of those other refractors as well. When in doubt, I guess just go for the guys that are, you want the Hall of Famers, and, missing, half of 2020, and, who knows what happens this year. People might just be saying to heck with it with a lot of these young players, and turning their attention to some of the guys that they've done enough that we don't have to worry about their legacy too much. So Clayton Kershaw, top of the range, bottom of the range, getting a nice pop. But coming back to the bottom range, giving you another crack at his card here, PSA 10, 760. This is the updates and highlights, so more limited card for sure. And Adrian Belcher, he's first ballot Hall of Famer. For third baseman, what is he? He's like right behind Schmidt in home runs, and 3,000 hits. I mean, obviously it's a no-brainer type guy. He's not in anybody's face right now. So he's right around the highs. But maybe people are sleeping on some of the lower grade cards, because you can still get these raw ones for like $50 or something like that. But Adrian Belcher, he'll be a first ballot guy here. So the 10's holding in just fine. I think those other ones are presenting opportunity. All right, Tom, terrific. I think he's officially retired, but until the season starts, we'll still start out with him. Though he's plenty relevant so far. Or still. So downtrend, you have your uptrend, and then, hey, there's a little bit of a problem here. Nice pop on it, but wasn't able to hold anything. And we're going to continue to slide down. A lot of interest in this area here. So sitting at 17,000, you start to get down to that 15 or something like that. Who knows? I don't know for sure, but, looking, if you remember the Juan Soto chart, right? So you had your downtrend, and then you didn't really come back down all the way to the bottom. People started scooping up before then, and so you could see something kind of in this area, which is like 15 or something like that. So getting close, most likely, but he's not going to add to his legacy or anything like that. So it'll be interesting to see when we get to this point if people are willing to step up and buy that card. So for now, the trend remains down. Joey B, all right. Had the breakouts up too cheap. What if he does something in the blast? See a run here, and then the breakout, and then getting up into here. Said, all right, this is where your best case is probably sideways. If you're looking to take profits, do it, and if you were able to do that, good on you. Now it's coming back into an area of a pretty solid support. Typically when you have these breakouts, you come back and test it, and it did here, but this should be a decent enough line in the sand, so it could go down just a little bit more perhaps. But this is something good for you if you didn't chase it up here, right? That was not the play. We're pretty clear about that. Buying in here, I think that's there's enough buying interest in this area. And you can go back a ways here and see that support is in there. So again, maybe if it comes down a touch more, sure. But for now, this is kind of your spot. 422, maybe 350s, your downside. But as long as it hangs above kind of this previous resistance here, then you are doing all right. Joey Burrow, silver in the PSA 9. The same thing. You had your uptrend, and then buy the rumor, sell the news, and now you're coming back into a support area. So this is a one-off. It wouldn't surprise me at all to see the next sale, just kind of rocket up. So don't sell at that price. You're probably not gonna be able to buy at that price either. But it'll be interesting to watch. And again, if it gets into here, then I think you see a ton of interest, and that might be a really nice. I don't know if it gets there, but a lot of buying interest. So Matty Staffy, the refractor coming off just a bit. Your Super Bowl MVP. Still coming off. It doesn't matter. He's top of the range psychologically. People were going to probably sell that. So I wish I could remember that dude was like, you have to buy this card right now. It's like, oh, yes, you don't, right? Cooper Kupp, ripping. We had him at support. And so, again, it's kind of funny just to see what happens with Cooper Kupp. Maybe he goes up a little bit, then he goes down. Maybe he goes down, then he goes up. It's like he's sitting at support, he goes up. The probabilities would say it's not a guarantee by any stretch here. And so he's putting in some new highs on that one here. So again, just you weren't able to get it there. I mean, realistically. That's more of a one-off, but that trend is up here. We could probably draw that trend in another way. We'll have to, I think, if you want to manage risk properly, but tough to argue with new highs. Again, if you've had it since the beginning of the season, then this is a decent amount to ring the register. There's a lot of buying in there. Shouldn't be hard to do, but does he do better? What's his expectation next year? Does he do better than that? His expectation, the receiving Triple Crown, it's like, what are the chances of him doing that again? So a couple of guys that are forgotten about, which could provide some nice buying opportunities. The Optic PSA 10, Josh Allen, you've got kind of a gentle uptrend here. It's in the middle with a lot of buying. It's crazy town, and right now it's like, all right, it gets a little choppy in here when the volume thins out. Now that people are willing to sell, and it's stable-ish here. So when you have that, it's like it's easier to buy and sell. I'm not looking for a rocket up to the top or down, but heck of a young player here could work out. So it's fair. It's like, all right, nothing exciting. It's fair. Pat Mahomes, kind of the same thing. It's just like, all right, top of the range coming off a little bit here. So in the playoffs when they lost and he was sitting right up there, it's like, all right, it's going to be kind of a coincidence, but he lost and he's out. Watch for those prices to come down. Here you are. Here's your support zone, and it's kind of getting into there now. So he's still a terrific quarterback. There's no question about it. So coming into a nice area. I mean, all right, it could still be $1,000 down, right? And so I'm going to say, hey, got to do something here, but look for it to start firming up in there. If you start to see multiple transactions, then that's kind of your support. Enough other cards, when they get to this level, kind of at the same time. Cards as a whole, I think, are mostly an asset class, and so asset classes, 70% of the time they're going to do the same thing roughly. So a lot of these came back to this reference point in the same period of time. They're holding for bouncing, and so Mahomes, why would he be wildly different than that? Kyler Murray, silver, PSA 10. Just an absolute puke, continues its downtrend, but towards the bottom of the range. And again, coming into an area where there's been a little bit of buying in the past, and maybe your reference port, at least you can manage your risk from that level. All right, basketball, Michael Jordan, PSA 8. Let's try this again here. I can't remember if we had him here last week. I thought we looked at the 9, or maybe we didn't look at him at all. I don't know. We had a poke above this downtrend and quickly rejected. And so here we are again. So let's see what happens. This is one sale that brought it up pretty nicely. If we can get a little bit more chasing, this breakout could be bullish for the rest of the market here. So my guess is it comes back down into this $8,000 area or whatever it is, $8,500. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see here. So this is that's a good sign. It's a good first step. It's got to, it starts with one, right? And so we'll see if a few more people are willing to join it. The Raw had them, hey, was it sub 1,000? It's like, all right, seems decent here. And this is one of these cards that are up the most. And so we're up, what is it, current price? Well, 5,000? That's a lot. Okay. Yeah, that's a big move. I don't know what the hell happened there. So, whatever. I just bottom of the range, and there's firing up. That's a big sale here. So don't chase it now. That's for darn sure. But if you're able to get it in there, then congratulations. I collect Joe Mauer X Fractors. That's an easy gift there for you, whoever did that. So there you go. All right. Shaquille O'Neal, PSA 10, bottom of the range. Shaq, for crying out loud. PSA 10, $200. Why the heck not? You want a raw gold or PSA 9 gold? You're just going to spend, a couple $100 on that one as well. So it's compressing, consolidating, but it looks like it's putting in a decent bottom as these downtrends are being broken. So I'd really like to see it just clear this, and then it's a little bit more of a stable bottom. But Shaquille O'Neal, whatever, LeBron James. We just did Shaq. Here's LeBron James. downtrend is persisting, but again, here's this reference point that it's kind of holding, and so like to see it continue to hold here and pop out above this zone. But again, a lot of the names are coming in here and starting to show some stability, so we'll see if this is the spot for it, sub 10,000. But and again, the trend is still down, but we shall see. So it can it can rocket up, or it can just go sideways and bust it. And again, I don't think you're going to do this again, but if it's at least stabilizing, enough people will be you feel secure about it. Right now, people are just kind of freaked out. It's like, oh my God, this was a $50,000 card. It's $10,000 card. I don't think I want to get into it. But when the price from 10,000 starts to go back up to 13, 14, 15, then they're like, I missed the bottom. They'll start to chase again. But then you'll have a really good idea that that's the bottom. So Joel Embiid, I'm looking like an MVP type player here. Here's your previous reference point. Make a run for it, and rejected at this previous resistance. Former support, now resistance. But poking its head up above here, so that is a very clean breakout. So a lot of action in here. So we might have to do the same thing. Markets have a lot of symmetry to them. So went down pretty fast, came up pretty fast, and now we might have to grind sideways for a little while. And if he starts doing something really special, my cursor's off the screen so you can't even see it. I'm like, hey, it's gonna, maybe we can do this after a period of time. He's like, okay, I'm off the screen. You can't even see that anymore. So whatever this duration is, a couple months, maybe we have to do that again for a couple months into the playoffs, and you can see a bit of a pop or something like that. We'll see, or MVP or whatever. John Morant, hollow, PSA 10, top of the range. This is this one is the one you'd really want to manage your risk on. Down in here, it gets choppy and probably doesn't last too long if it does go down, but your risk reward isn't favorable. So below this, you just got to be a little bit careful, and it's a decent price card. So, again, that it's going to, that you're going to get people psychologically. Are you going to get someone to just pay $9,000 or $900 or $1,000 or something like that? That would be a pretty clean breakout. And then you could, but then you've sold at what potentially could be a bottom. Now, if it breaks below this, then good call. So right now it's your last chance to buy or last chance to sell, I guess, or something like that. So risk reward sets up favorably, but with minimal upside in the near term. Even though he's playing really, really well. Ben Simmons, his card's been ripping as well. So broken downtrend, but you're getting into an area. So let's try this again, people. All right. If you missed it on Joe Burrow, here's your broken downtrend, okay? You're grinding up to an area where we've had a lot of transactions before. This is where it gets sticky. Probably worth it to take profits if that's what you're looking to do, and maybe don't buy it in here because we've never seen those higher prices. Now, if it continues to go up, it's not a high-priced card. It could certainly keep going higher. When it breaks out of this range and it holds it, then you kind of rebuy your risk-reward. Yeah, that dynamic changes. So, Luka in the silver PSA 10. Luka bottoming here? What's going on here? I don't know. Downtrend, uptrend, downtrend. 2,700 this is just a weird spot for it to stop, but for whatever reason, I could probably run a few numbers and come up with something on this one, but for whatever reason, a lot of buying in here, broken downtrend. So maybe it's just sideways at best, but 2,700 is your line in the sand. If you say, I want a Luka, I'm really nervous about it, getting hammered, this is kind of your spot, I would say, right? But below 2,700, you want to be ready to sell it. If it hangs out there, then your next stop is that sub 2,000 or something like that. So investing is about the management of risks. All right, Connor McDavid, Young Guns, PSA 10, kind of going sideways. Looked like maybe it's going to break and go a little bit lower. Did not. It got a little kick save. So again, a lot of sideways action here. And again, that's what I'm seeing in a lot of cards. It's like a lot of sideways, not a lot of change from last week, and so I didn't want to repeat a ton of things or whatever, but it's just like there wasn't a lot going on. There's a lot of risers and fallers, but really in the low end or some of the weird stuff that's pretty limited. That wasn't going to do any good. So Young Guns PSA 10, Vetchkin $7,000. That's kind of your line of sand. Below $6,700, and you're back into this mess here. And there wasn't a lot of action here, honestly. And so you could be 5,000. If it gets down to 4,000 or 5,000, then for sure do your thing. But right now it sets up as long as you manage appropriately. All right, Austin Matthews, uptrend, downtrend, compressing. Now, this is typically a reversal pattern. So as long as you're in the wedge, the trend is up, obviously. But when you break it, then you'll come back down to, near the bottom or something like that. So the trend is up right now. It's sitting at support. Could be worth a pop. But if it breaks this and at some point you're going to run out of room, it's unlikely for it to go up, then it'll probably come back down into an area where, if you're looking for this card, that $1,200 area is a pretty nice spot. So right now we're sitting at $1,600. I think if you're patient, it could be a while, but if you're patient, then maybe you get another crack at that one. Jack Hughes, Young Guns, PSA 10. sell at that $400 level, and if you are able to get something in that that $200, $250 area, $250 area, that's pretty good. So right now there's a lot of interest in this card right here, and what does get down to the $200 area, then it it gets picked up pretty quickly. So you have to be quick on it or start throwing bids in that area here, 220, 200, 225 or something like that. But this is kind of the price, not a lot to do. And again, it gets closer to 400, then definitely don't do anything unless, again, it can break out and sustain itself. So we shall see. Middle range, just kind of watch it for now. The raw ones look a bit more interesting. And finish it up with Last Disc Hollow, PSA 9, bottom range, getting a little bit of lift. Trend is still down, but your score sets up at least favorably in the near term if that's a card you're looking for. But again, we're not going to have this real durable uptrend. And this wasn't so durable either until we can break out of this, and then you'll just have a slow grind up. Again, symmetry, long, slow grind down. It probably works the other way. Long, slow grind up. It's just going to be a boring, frustrating market, I think. So, but there it is. All right, that's what I got for you. I hope everybody has a terrific weekend. Thanks for watching, and we will talk to you later. Bye now.